What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Cards. Back again, week 3. Some may say the main event. Some may say, well, I don't know what they'll say. But we got Pbear on the show for the final interview of the Card Foundation series. We talk about his PC, the lack thereof. We talk Wade Boggs. Wait a minute. Wade Boggs and wrestling cards. We talk about Whatnot and all the work that goes in behind that and much more. So let's not wait anymore. Let's get into the conversation, the final interview of this Part 3 WrestleMania season series with Pbear from the Card Foundation. What's up, wrestling fans? Last, but maybe not least, or there's a couple of guests I've had on here that are associated with this man that may say that he's like the dark match after the main event.
I don't think they'd say that. I think they'd say this is the main event right there. I don't think they're going to say that.
I had to throw it out there. Welcome, Pbear, back to the channel. How's it going?
Everything's good. Good. Thanks for having me.
It's been a long time. Last time we had you and Johnny on was when we did the live wrestling card convention thing that was like the virtual thing. We had you and him do a run-in. And I told Danny when he was on here, I was like, thanks for big timing us. You know, we could have used that, but we had to use Tony as the third man that came in for the Card Foundation.
Yeah, Danny sometimes thinks he's too big for his britches. That's why he's going. This was Roman Reigns underwear. Got to hold it all in there.
Hey, that's why I said maybe he was considering himself the main event of this, 3-week long lead up to WrestleMania, having each one of you guys individually. So just in case anybody is unaware, I know you guys have talked about it on the channel. And you talked a little bit about it when you're on the live stream, but just give background on your origin story, how you got into the hobby to begin with.
So I got into the hobby, my dad, he was my coach in baseball. He's the man. He's my hero. He was always my coach. Motivation, packs of baseball cards.
Nice.
It would go, I use it with my son right now. It's Pokemon cards. I want to get him in more into baseball cards, but it's the same thing. You want to go out and practice, I'll get you a pack of cards. You do this and it just grew more and more. Then my friends would come over, and then the card shows would start happening, and it was a lot of fun to go to card shows. And I remember him taking me, and I was big into Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs is my guy. He said you should collect the Hall of Famer, and I was like, "Who's the Hall of Famer?" He's like, "Wade Boggs. I think you'd like him." And I was big into Wade Boggs. So I go to all the card shows, pick up all the Wade Boggs cards I can, and that's really how I got into it. And I have thousands and thousands of just base cards in my dad's basement who keeps bugging me. He's like, "You mind taking these?" And I go, "No, I really don't want. I don't want those because it's kind of during the junk action where I'm not going to go find the Mike Trout rookie card in there. I know that I was out of collecting at that point. It's just going to be a lot of who are these people, this and that. But yeah, it was very incentive. Baseball cards was an incentive, and yep, it did good. Got a bad pack of baseball cards, a box of baseball cards, so it was a lot of fun.
How'd you get into then wrestling and transitioning to wrestling cards just like that timeline?
So I always watch wrestling. My dad we always watch wrestling. Being friends with Brian,
sure,
Brian Myers, you can't be friends with him without either getting some wrestling or liking wrestling. His room was basically a shrine to wrestling. I've never seen anything. It was almost on music. It was so nice.
It's awesome.
So being friends with him, I actually got him into baseball and baseball cards and collecting baseball cards and stuff like that. And he got me. I was into wrestling, but more into wrestling like that. So I'd watch, and then we had the old hot box, the hot box,
yep.
The old brother hot box. He had it, I had it. So pay-per-views were on the price of on the house, which was nice. So every Monday we'd watch wrestling. It would just be, and it was during the Attitude Era, so more and more people were just tossing suckets everywhere.
Yep.
You couldn't at that point. You couldn't not like wrestling. Like,
right, you would go to school and people were referencing the catchphrases that
Yeah, so you're out. You're kind of on the outs if you didn't like wrestling. So everybody liked wrestling at that point, and that I always stayed with it because Brian always stayed with it. I was friends with Brian, so I always stayed with it. A lot of people fell out, and this and that, but so I always watch wrestling, and especially when he got signed and was with the Edge, then I liked him more than ever because now is the reason it's my friend wrestling and stuff like that. So I've always been in it, a little out, a little in, but now I'm in it more than ever.
That's awesome. So this is one thing that I don't know that anyone's ever asked you, and that's about your actual personal collection, because when I'm listening to you on the podcast, you're talking about maybe what you bought on eBay, but maybe it's not PC items. You just talked about Wade Boggs. Maybe that's still part of the PC. We'll figure that out. Or maybe it's stuff that you've just bought that you're like, I think it's too cheap. So what exactly are you currently collecting, or do you even actually have some sort of collection?
It's just such a hard question because UPC carrying cross, that's easy. UPC carrying cross. You get all carrying cross stuff. Danny's a big Ziggler guy.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny's kind of like me. He's kind of a little bit. Who did Johnny say he PC'd?
He said he's basically like the Wild West, and then he's picked a couple of sets that he's specifically
he goes
on.
more into sets chasing. I'm like a rabbit hole guy. I will see a guy like that guy's undervalued, and I just buy. And I stopped buying one of every card. I want to buy two, get one graded or keep one.
Right.
So I can't really put a pinpoint on how I do PC Wade Boggs still, just for the fact that I have over 300 cards of them.
That's
and they're
awesome.
probably worth like $20. So I would definitely keep him. And a Wade Boggs story is I actually got to meet Wade Boggs at WrestleMania with Brian once. I said that story. So, and they say don't meet your heroes. He could have been cooler. So I was like, I'm not getting rid of these. I was like, we got a picture. So he is the man. But I was PCing Brian for a little bit. I was getting all his cards, but then he wanted the one-on-ones and I wanted the one-on-ones. And I just was like, this is not, now we're just competing versus each other and you're going to end up winning. So I ended up giving all his stuff to him. And finally, when I went through my stuff with Brian stuff, I actually had a Kurt Hawkins one-on-one card.
That's
like,
awesome.
Oh shit, look at this. He goes, give me that right now. Here you go. But the way I PC, it's like I got big into like last week. I was like, oh man, these ringside, the ringside select refractors are really nice. So I just typing all those. I was like, oh, let me get I got a John Cena PSA 10. I was like, I want a Hogan. How much are the Austins? So I went down that route. I started buying some of those. And then I'm like, oh, know what? No, it's also cool. The Panini One cards. I think those are really cool. Oh, let's see how much the Rock one is. So then I go down a rabbit hole with the Rock. I get the Rock. I was like, let me see. Oh, Macho Man's pretty cheap too. Let me get Macho Man. Mankind card. That's a cool card. So then I go down that rabbit hole. Then I'm like, oh, you know what's really cool? Signed rookie canvas cards. I have the MJF. Let me get Sammy Guevara. And I go down that rabbit hole. It's just, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, this is I'm gonna buy this to sell. I'm gonna buy this to sell.
Sure.
And then it comes back at 10. I'm like, well, what's the right time to sell it? I kind of like this is really cool. Nobody else has this but me.
Right.
And then it's kind of I'm like, oh, now I'm PCing it, but there's not an actual like. Again, I just
a revolving door. It sounds like
a revolve. I'll see like something you'll say. I'm like, oh, this card's these cards are fairly cheap. Oh, he's right. Those cards are fairly cheap. Let me start picking these up. And I pick things off other people. And I try to do like mass buying at it because I'm gonna forget within the next day. It's already in and out, gone. So let me do some mass buying of it now, and then when it comes in the mail, it's great. So it's like I wish I really could tell you, but it's kind of a revolving door and stuff like that.
It's an interesting take, and I think it actually helps. It will help other people if we continue to kind of talk about it because I think that most people I'm sure collect a set, an era, a talent, and that's kind of what they go for. But we've recently seen when I say recently in the past, I don't know, year or so, I've seen some people that were like collecting a certain set, they got out of it, went to something else. They started super collecting some talent, they got out of that and went to something else, which I think, whatever, that's fine. Like, who are we to tell somebody how to collect? But I think there were some community members that were like, and you guys are not on Twitter, so you don't see it quite as much. Probably.
Well, Johnny should be on Twitter. I'm not. I'm an Instagram guy.
Let me rephrase this. You guys are on Twitter, but not like in.
I'm not too much. Yeah, not too much. So reading, more of a picture guy.
Yeah, so you miss a lot of the stuff that goes, a lot of that negative stuff. But
oh my god, they said they screenshot to me. I was like, man, Twitter's ruthless, man.
Yeah,
I was like, sometimes it's great. Sometimes I'm like they're kind of mean at each other. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not too involved in it.
But I'm just like, to get your perspective on this kind of revolving door, you're one of the first people I've talked to that it's almost like you're purposely collecting this way. And I think it's awesome. It's like, I almost feel like you have this dealer mentality where you're picking up cool stuff. You're picking up stuff that might be a good deal, but you're not like, okay, well, this is like not for sale, not for trade. It's just like, I got cool stuff. Get rid of this to get more cool stuff. Just talk about that mentality. Am I right on that, or am I wrong?
You're right on that. It's that dealer mentality. And then at the end of the day, when I send 300 cards of PSA, I honestly forget what I send. And it's almost a surprise when it comes back, or it's a surprise when I go
bill is a surprise too when it comes
back. God. Oh, I know when it hits, brother. Yep. Oh my God. I just got hit today. I sent about 15 autograph cards and get the auto graded. And that's more expensive than regular cards. I was like, oh, what is that? I was like, oh, that's big. And that's what motivates me to go. Now I see that bill, go to my, I have a lot of slabs. And again, I forget which ones I have them in different boxes, different things.
Sure.
And kind of like, all right, I like this, but now it's time to move it because I'm getting this. It's one's in, one's out. And I kind of just try to do like that. I kind of try to do, one night I did like a mass 50 card PSA slab lot. Some of the stuff I love, some of the stuff I'm not. And I think it went very successful because there was some great cards in there. And it's you're right. It's like I get one card to make room for another one, and then you need to sell these cards to pay for the 300 cards I have at PSA, and that's what motivates me to sell. Like I wouldn't sell. PSA didn't charge me. I wouldn't sell anything. I would just keep it all. But then you're like, I gotta move this to that. It's kind of a revolving door. And then I went through another route. I was like, oh, the yellow AEW cards.
The Jazz Wearers ones.
I go, those grade high. Let me stack up on those. You know, they're not coming back out anymore. Those are rare. This and that. Who's like prospecting? And I'm big into, there's some great deals on eBay for slabs. You could buy a slab, already slab. There's some great deals. I do like the buying raw, getting a grid and getting the tag. I like that a lot. So I focus more on that. But yeah, just in and out and just stuff like picking up from what people say. Like sometimes I say something and then people say, oh, that's a good idea. Like Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is too low for the hobby. I think Randy Orton's too low for the hobby. Like these guys, they're still, like, don't get me wrong, they're not like you can't buy a $2 autograph of them.
Sure.
But sometimes I'll you know, I've saved searchings on them. I think that Topps E-Pack card of John Cena. And you know, John Cena, The Rock's in it. I think that set's a little low. So stuff like that I have on my save searches and it pops up. And sometimes people run them at $1. You put your top bid on it and see if you win them.
A couple of things that just brought up as you were talking, like I think, like I said, it's a breath of fresh air to kind of hear somebody that is involved with wrestling cards the way that you are, without being like this staunch collector type that we have tons of, whether it's the set collectors, the super collectors, people who just want to hoard everything and never sell. So I think it's fun because, in my opinion, the more you're getting in and out of stuff, the more cards you're putting in other collectors' hands. And you never know when that card that someone buys from you is actually going to set them off on a journey to collect that specific person.
That's what happens to me. Like something sets me off for that journey. Yeah. So like somebody legit, this Rock from Panini One, somebody was selling in a Facebook group, and I was like, "Damn, that's a cool card." And then I think Stacking Slabs had the 101. Yeah, I'm like, oh, then that sets me off into like, all right, just picking off other people's ideas and stuff like that. Like, Stacking Slabs, I don't write too much when I post my pictures. Like, you know, awesome, cool card, the Rock. Stacking Slabs usually has a story behind it, which is like very nice. And then that like inspires me. I wish I could think of stuff like that. I'm like, he's right. That's cool. That is cool. And there's always a story behind it. But mine was like, that's a cool card. Let's get it. And then it just takes me to think. It's like kind of when I'm laying in bed, I'm like, how do I start thinking about 5th grade gym class? And then you go back to like, how did I get to this point? And you just, like, how did I get to this point? And you just go back. And that's really, you know, really kind of what it is. It's not an easy answer. I was like, she asked me that question, like, what is this answer? I can't tell you.
And that's what I love to hear. Like, it's just a different style of going about it. And then kind of going back to the Wade Boggs thing. And I know this, you know, many people that watch this channel, they are all wrestling 100%. But I like to talk about stuff outside of that occasionally, especially in a situation like this. I think there are a lot of collectors out there, and I know that you've probably spoke with a lot of community members and members of the Facebook group that, like, maybe they want to collect a certain talent or a tag team or a set or something, but maybe like the mainstream or mass majority says, well, don't do that because it's not a, quote, good investment. Here you are with Wade Boggs stuff, which maybe isn't quite a good investment for a lot of people, but you're having fun with it. You're still keeping it. So kind of talk through that mindset about collecting and having fun with stuff, even though it might not be that hobby headline, all-stars, gold prism stuff.
It's fun. It's fun. Everybody has so many cards nowadays, from the top guy to the lower guy. Yeah. Like there's so many different cards. So it gives you, like when I was going to the card shows, I would just go to the Yankee section of the box. Oh my, I don't have this Wade Boggs. I don't have this Wade Boggs. I don't have this way. And you just pick them up and the collection grows and grows. And then when I go back and look at it, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of cool different cards I have.
Yeah.
It's fun to go to different, you know, eBay and just type in your guy and just see what popped up and different cards like that. I wish I kind of, you know, still did that, because now I do have random things and I do like that. But it's fun to play because it's easy too. It's also, I'm sure people reach out to you all day with carrying cross cards.
Yep.
Like you see this one. I've done it myself. Like you see this one. It's almost like people bring it to you and you're like, oh, that is cool. This and that. And Gelman with his Becky Lynch, and God bless him. God bless you coming away. Because, you know, his carrying cross has been out of the product for a little bit, and now he's about to.
Yep.
Is he in Immaculate?
Yeah. I just bought the jersey match when I had to order it from some eBay seller in Greece, actually. Like, because he signs everything with a number 12. So I
Yeah.
try to go all the serial numbers with
Oh,
12s.
that's really cool. I didn't realize
Yeah.
he does do that 12. What
Yep.
an autograph. I don't get that autograph, but what an autograph. It's a lot of squiggles, this and that. God, but he's still
Hey,
keeping it.
it's better than an SB or an SR.
Oh,
You know what I
it's
mean?
so much better.
Yeah.
So that's keep it going. So, and like you're about to get Gelman's has, because there's not just one of those. There's like 7 products of every card and every color and this and that. So
I can't wait for Prism. Yeah, I'm already
it's almost intimidating. So that's why I don't even want to do it, because it is legit intimidating
right.
how much of the stuff is. That's why I do like collecting the sets, like the 5-timer set. That was an awesome set. Like you collect every one of stuff like that. I think that's, if I was going to do something, I would do more that route where it's more obtainable.
I love seeing people pick a subset and then pick like, okay, I want all the blacks, I want all the greens, I want all the, and then they'll put together like 5-timers. Someone will put that together, or maybe they put together the 5-timer set, and then each one of the cards is a different parallel to form its own rainbow amongst the, like, there's just so many cool things like that people are doing. So
and those are obtainable. Usually there's a 10 to 20 cards tops, and then you could figure it out and how to do it. Where again, the player collector, there's all, especially with the blaster exclusives, it just wild, man. Yeah, Prism is coming out.
I can't wait. I'm stoked.
Carrion's coming. I love his long hair, by the way. If you talk to him, tell him.
You know what was awesome that I thought is that they used him as the spokesperson for the Prism Black card. I don't know if you noticed that on the sell sheet. Like his Prism Black.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, and I've noticed like it's cool and it sucks at the same time that I'm starting to have more competition with his cards. Like I see the prices slowly start going up little by little, and people are actually bidding against me now, which before I would be like the only one bidding. So it's fun, and I always think it's just cool to put together different collections like that. Let's talk about Whatnot. So back when Whatnot first started, everybody and their brother wanted to jump on it, right? That everybody thought, oh, this is going to be the super easy way to make money, and I'm just going to flip these cards, and it's going to be great, create a community. That being said, you're one of the few people I know that is still doing it every single week, and all these other jabronis are falling by the wayside because they get into it, they find out how much work it is, and they don't want to do it anymore. So talk about how you got started on Whatnot and kind of what that whole process has been like.
Whatnot is what a journey. Whatnot is. I knew Whatnot prior to me getting on a few months earlier that from Filth Bomb. My friend Steve owns Filth Bomb cards. He actually is the one that got me like back into cards when I saw him at my other friends like Baby's Communion. Like, what do you do? Is I do card breaks, and he explained to me that whole process. And I called him the next day. I haven't talked to him in years. I go, explain this to me one more time. And he explained it, and then I started jumping in all the breaks. So that they were on Whatnot fairly early. They're like, this is the product. So then I was like, I was doing Facebook breaks and different kind of breaks with Brian and stuff like that. I was like, I should try Whatnot. And then I think Whatnot reached out to Brian about Major Wrestling Figure Podcast doing a stream. I go, I know what that is. I want to talk to Broski personally. Yo, I'm telling you, do this. Like that, you will love it. It's eBay meets Instagram. It's fast. You could sell your stuff. I'm telling you, you would love it. Do it. I've been watching it for weeks now. So then I'm like, well, if they're gonna do it, I'm thinking like, I'm the silk stockings to them. I'm like, if they're gonna do it, I might as well do it too. They go live at 6:30 to 7:30. I was like, oh, I might as well go live at 7:30. I guess Brian send people my way, and that'll be fun. And now that's the time. I want to say it was time Series 1 blasters of AEW. Like those things were set the market on fire. Like you could sell a blaster, and I was doing different like ways. I was doing in the beginning. They have all these rules now. I was doing the way where I'd open like 6 boxes. It'd be a AEW blaster. It'd be a WWE finest, and then it'd be a WWE. What's that autograph in every pack? What's it called? I can't think of it. 10 packs, autograph in every pack. It's a high-end product. What was it called?
I'm blanking.
But it'd have an autograph in every pack, and I would just do a, bid up, whoever wins, spin the wheel, you get what you get. And I was doing that. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun in the beginning. And then, as time goes on, it gets harder, and everybody was doing it. The AEW blasters, everybody could do it. Everybody was doing it because you would just open up the blaster, be like, all right, first pack of $1. And then if you missed the auto, everyone would go up. Miss the auto of the relic, and everyone would go up. And then it was very simple. And then even if you hit it in the first pack, the other packs were still high. You buy a $30 blaster, they were going for like $70, $80, even more. So, and then it just started getting, more and more people got on, and everybody was doing it, and it just got harder. And so then I teamed up with Filth Bomb because I was struggling a little bit. It wasn't like, there's a lot of people are doing it. Everybody's doing the same thing. You kind of want to stand
Yep.
out. Filth Bomb, I was able to get the products for a little bit cheaper, so I was able to lower my prices and just kind of reinvent. Like always, I was always able to have the new product. Like I knew the new product was coming.
Yep.
I would never have to like struggle to get it or this and that. I was having the new product was coming in, and then just staying like I was starting to do wrestler player, but you guys stay inventive, think of new ways to do it because again, there's still a lot of people left, but there's still a lot of people on there, and there's still some big companies out there that's competition. But stay, and the podcast helps a lot too. I'm basically hanging out with my friends on Whatnot for like an hour and a half, opening cards for different people, this and that, and like just shooting this shit. And I think that's really what stands me apart is like the community in there. Yep. Some people don't buy anything; they just come to hang out and shoot the shit and see cool cards. And that basically, I'd be there. I'm doing that myself in other breaks, and I'm just watching, just hanging out, jumping in every now and again. So I think the community and like the friends I made in this is really what like sets me apart. And like honestly, I can't thank them enough. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would have fell at the wayside too. So I honestly, it's just a lot of fun, and then pulling a lot of big cards is great too. It helps, it helps out too. I'm telling you, it's easy to break cards when you're pulling 1-on-1s or out of 5 autographs. It is very hard when you open that box and it's just like your heart breaks for the people. You're like, brother, I know Jey Uso at a 199 auto is the best card. Like, I'm sorry, but it is. But it's been a lot of fun. And I think Panini's helped out a lot too. Panini with their products, it's really they're coming out consistently. A little again, not like baseball every other week. There's a new product. It's a little far and few between, but their products have been basically hits. I'd say everyone's been a good product.
Yeah, for the most part, I've seen most people collecting wrestling cards, even some sports card collectors randomly picking some Panini products they wanted to add. And, I think that's like a testament to your success. You say like there's still people on there. And I think that most people on there either have a lot of money, a lot of clout, like within the hobby, they can get product, they have a big name. And I think forming the community that you guys have formed on the Facebook page, maybe carrying that over to the breaks, teaming up with Filth Bomb, and then just like again the behind the scenes stuff, because you can break cards on any kind of platform all day. You can make it a community driven thing, but when that's all said and done, and you got to start packing up those packages, it's people don't want to do it. So.
It's yep, firsthand how much packing up it is, and I'm every day. I don't know what I'm gonna get stuck doing, work, kids, this and that. So I have to do it. I typically do it that night after I rip it. I have to do it because I know I have the time right then and there to do it. I don't really need sleep. Sleep's all right. Everybody gets sleep, but I'm like, I need to get this, and I need to fill it. I need to get this done, and I really take pride in shipping out as fast as possible to people. But it is a lot of work with the shipping, the pack. You got bubble wrap it, ship it, this and that. It's a lot, and then all that stuff's expensive too. The bubble mailers, the bubble, the top loaders. I wish I invested in top loaders when this whole pandemic.
Yeah, I just filled out all my tax stuff for 2022, and you should have seen the amount of money I spent on shipping and supplies.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But also the community and whatnot. I don't really talk to the big breakers. They probably, I don't know, we know each other. I know who they are. They know I.
Sure.
Maybe they do. But like the guys that are in my realm, around the same amount of people, we have an Instagram chat with all of them, and we all kind of we help each other out, and I don't try to step on their toes, and everybody's supportive. Like I'm Medina, Fenway card guy. Like they also break too, but I see when they're breaking, I try not to break around them. They give me advice. I say, hey, what's the top loaders for Mac Clips? I didn't rip it yet. They give me advice, and it's nice that we're not enemies. We're not. Right. I'm not out. I want them to succeed. I want them to make a lot of money. I want them to pull the big, like Medina pulled the 1-of-1 Hogan. Did you see that at so I'm happy for him. So it's nice to have that where we're not like, oh, this son of a bitch, oh mother, I don't have that. So I'm like, oh, these guys, doing great, and I don't want to step on. I want them to succeed, and they have different styles, and we all help each other out. So I think that is, very good as well. Well, hopefully nobody turns heel, and then next thing I know, we all hate each other and we're all going against each other. Which
you guys have been doing it for a while now, and it seems like I've seen some of those guys you were talking about on Instagram promoting their breaks, and so far everybody seems to be getting along. So keep it going until you can't anymore, I say.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the podcast now. Again, you're the last one of the three that I've had on,
Man, it
and
was on the main stage in the main event.
and again, maybe they think differently because I was talking to them about this, and I said,
I'm sure it's Danny you're talking about.
I was like, well, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I have heard from many people that the podcast really took off on episode 3, I believe, when Pbear joined. And, there may be some disputes about that. So just real quick, how'd you get involved? And maybe more importantly, when you guys are coming together, I got their sides of the story, which people have already watched now. But what exactly would you say is your strong point as far as like bringing the information for the content to the table on the podcast?
All right, I'll explain. So they stole my idea when I did their baseball card podcast. They asked me, they said, do we do this? I said, somebody should really do a wrestling card podcast. Before I knew you were doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Respect to you.
Oh yeah. You guys are doing something totally different though.
I was like, I was like, oh, there's nobody else. I said, there's nobody else doing this. You were doing it, Zhan. You were before us. I tipped the cap, but
thank you.
I was like, let's do this. And then I actually asked, you listen to Major Pod Card, Joe Shoes. I was like, yo, let's do a wrestling card podcast. I was like, I'm getting big into collecting them. I'm ripping a lot of stuff. I was like, you just start collecting, pick a wrestler and start collecting them, and we'll have an entertaining podcast. He's like, I'd be faking it too much to do it. Like it'd be I was like, no, you're right. And then I see Danny and Johnny start this podcast, and these sons of bitches stole my idea. And then they asked me the third episode, or asked me one of the episodes, do you want to come on and do it? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And they knew I brought a lot of different stuff to the table. I have Brian, so nobody else. I have Brian in the Major Pod kind of there, so they knew that was a huge plus. And I'm definitely more entertaining than both of them. So that bringing that and that, like, it's almost like bringing, I want to say like Roman Reigns to the Usos, so maybe something like that.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Danny's gonna love that. So I actually had to talk to my wife. I was like, do I have time to do this? You tell her.
It takes up a lot of time.
You don't know how much time it takes up. And I wish I could do even more, but I was like, it'd be 1 hour a week on Mondays when I'm off, and we'll just talk about wrestling cards, and that'll be that. And then it gets more fun.
Into this whole
thing then it
gets
more fun. Let's do a Facebook group. Now I want to do whatnot. Let's do some breaks. It gets more fun, and I want to hang out with my friends. I want to talk to everybody. And then next thing you know, it's way more than one. It's not 1 hour a week. Then packing and this and that. So now she's wondering why I'm up till 2 a.m. packing stuff, and I just did the podcast and this and that, and she's saying I'm crazy and I have to wake up at 5 for work. So, but it's not really work. It's fun. It's like just something I gotta do. So they came to me, and I thought that'd be great. And I knew the Major Pod was doing a network. They said they're doing other shows, and I was like, oh, I could probably get us on the network if we just get. Brian says he wants proof in the pudding. Like, let's do like a few episodes and we get on the network. And it's just been a lot of fun, more fun than I could have ever imagined it would have been. I honestly thought it was gonna be like an hour, and I just talk wrestling cards. And now our roles in it is, I do mainly Instagram's mainly me. Instagram's mainly me because I can show a lot of the cool cards I pulled. And promote on whatnot, and Facebook. I post a lot on the Facebook group. I feel like I do that. Facebook's everybody, but that's a community. You don't need anybody really monitoring that. The notes come from mainly Johnny. I think Danny was doing them in the beginning. I think Johnny does the notes, which is great because I would never do that. I would never do that. He thinks of great stuff. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is good stuff. And I don't know how he does. So Danny does the editing. Which is that's not. I wouldn't even know if somebody said edit this. I'm like, no, we're just going right from it. So Danny does the editing, and he sends it to somebody at the Major Pod, and they put it up. So I don't even know really behind the scenes stuff like that. So I basically
just get out of the limo and show up, right?
Exactly. I'm ready to rock, and I have a lot of information. So I opened up more of the product than they did, so I know a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say that is one of the that's very helpful for having somebody that opens so much product that you have that experience to tell people. These are the odds. This is good. This is not. Yeah. Here's, I'm
seeing a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of that. So and Panini's sneaky. Like a lot of people didn't realize with the case hits, everybody thought the zebras were the case hits. And then they're like, oh, they got another case hit. They got the ringside refractors. And nobody realized that. I'm like, I'm seeing these in like one in every case. sneaky like that. You only realize that the more you open, the more you watch and this and that. I'm watching a lot. I watch a lot of breaks and a lot of different things. I'm learning from other people. So
Right.
it's that's why it's a good team. I feel like we mesh very well. And it's
Yeah.
everybody, Danny likes to make fun, Joe, we all joke around, but everybody knows they kind of know this is their role. So like Danny would never message me. He's like, hey, you mind editing this week? I was like,
all right. So continuing to talk about your guys' roles, that's a huge help because, like I'm over here doing a one-man show. I got to do all the social platforms. I got to do the editing. I got to do the notes.
that's wild. I feel like we come up short a lot ourselves. Like we could do more. And there's 3 of us. For you doing it all by yourself, God bless you. That is crazy.
It's a lot of work, but I mean, that's a testament to you guys when you've got that many people divvying up the work and bringing different things to the table. Like, there's no reason for you to keep going. And the other thing you talked about that I wanted to touch on was how much fun it is. Like when you started, like just doing content, a lot of people get into it because they just want a creative outlet. Some people just want to make money, but I think when you get going, you realize how fun it is and how like you build a community. Maybe you make some money along the way. And like Brett McGrath always says, it's a hobby hack. Like there's collections I bought out, cross cards I bought out, just different kinds of weird connections I made within the hobby that I would have never even begun to get if I wasn't putting any kind of content out. So I'll just get your perspective on that.
Yeah, it is wild that, I collect like Dave. I'm like, I talk to Dave every day now.
Yep.
And he's a big It's like crazy how much I know about him.
And he's sold me so many amounts of bulk cards, and I wouldn't even have probably met him if it wasn't this full circle of all of us doing content in the group.
We shoot the shit, like we'd hang out if you lived in New York. It's just crazy the amount of like-minded people, how nice and how normal everybody is. That's all you really want. Just nice and normal people. And you post a picture and then they talking about that and then this and then it's like, how did I wake up in my 5th grade? How did I get to my 5th grade gym class? Like, how did I get here? And then it all literally started with probably a post on Instagram. And the community is way different than the baseball and the basketball. Basketball is just wild. And it's like a safe community. The prices are very, very lower than the others. So nobody really minds. It's what's $10 to $20 for this and that. And everybody gives you, I feel like everybody in wrestling gives you fair prices. Like, where,
for the most part, yeah.
Like other places, like somebody messages you like, hey, do you want this card? Oh yeah, like this is like a shot, like a sales call. Yeah, I'm kind of interested. Oh, it's $35 on eBay. I'll give it to you for $25. Like, oh, this guy's normal. Came after me with a normal price. Where like I feel like other sports, it's like, hey, you want this card? Yeah, I'm interested. And they'd be like, the comps, you're like, I'll give it to you 85 shipped. And then you look at the comps, like last comp was like 70. Like they're like basketball, it's like everybody's trying like you reached out to me, now we're going above what we're looking at here.
Right.
I feel like I'm like, what's going on here? But I feel like wrestling, you don't see that again. Like the community with the Whatnot Breakers, we technically could be all enemies and hate each other and step on each other's toes and this and that. We're all friends. We're all like, go in each other's streets, buy from each other. So that is great because I feel like you don't see that other places. And,
cheering on people's collections. That's one thing. Like, whoever let's circle back again to the Wade Boggs thing. Like, pick the Wade Boggs of wrestling, whoever that is, and you'll see that person collecting that talent, and you'll see all the wrestling community cheering them on. Like, that's awesome. I see you have this hole in your collection. Let me just send you this card for free, kind of thing. And it's awesome to see everybody cheering each other on for the most part, regardless of their style or what they're collecting.
And social media is great for that because I would never know what cards you have. I would just know you collect Karrion Kross, but you posting pictures of the 1-on-1s out of time, like that is cool. And then everybody's getting into posting. They should be. These are cool ass. If you have a cool ass card, post that cool ass card. It's out of 5. There's only 5 of them. I probably won't see the other 4. So post it. Like it's fun. It's definitely the reel. I'm big into reels now. The reels is fun because I do a 2-second bink, bink, bink. You see all the hits. Everybody has a TikTok mentality, which I do myself. It's like it needs to be quick. Let me see it. Let's go. And it's great. Everybody's showing off their stuff and making cool stuff.
Right.
Like I'm looking forward to showing. Like I said, I bought this Pop Century tickets. I'm hoping to pull something cool.
Are you going to do that on Whatnot or Facebook group, or you just?
I'm opening this privately for myself.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what's in it because that's such a cool concept.
I haven't opened that yet. So I could open this and get something cool, post it on Instagram, and now it's like, oh, I want to go try that out, and then
Right.
it snowballs effect into that. Where if you pull like a dud, I just wouldn't even post it and stuff like
Well,
that.
and then
So
in some cases though, even the dud cards, like a base card, like I posted an Instagram post about this. Like I think people think base cards are junk, or maybe it's a card that's not serial number, but it just looks cool. Maybe it's a junk wax card. And I think some of the stories that people can come up with behind this, why it's important to them or why it's important to the hobby, is just something also cool. So I'm like you, like regardless of what you got, like just get them out there, post the pictures, talk
yeah,
about them.
it's just just show the cards, because you could post like, oh, this is a cool image, and like, oh, that is a cool image, this and
Yep.
that, and it could be a base card like that. Well, Panini's been knocking it out of the park with their images though.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
they've been killing it, where a lot of cool things and this and that. But yeah, I'd say if you have it, you have a cool collection, and you take the time to take pictures of it and post it. There's only benefits of it.
Right. Put yourself out there. I know a lot of people are kind of I don't know the term I want to use, but maybe they don't want to put their face on the camera. Maybe they don't want to be on social media and be active. But I think the more you do that, the more fun it is, because you find these people and you get in these groups, and it's just a lot of fun. So, two more questions and we'll get out of here. And these are kind of fun questions. So, what is and again, we've established you have this revolving PC now. So, what's an item that you've had maybe longer than another, or something that you currently have that you just can't get rid of selling wise yet? Something that relates to a major WrestleMania moment for you. That could be a specific card of a moment or a talent. And it doesn't have to be like a WrestleMania card. It could just be like, oh, well, I have this, Miz card and it's a base card, but it reminds me of this time when I was watching blah, blah, blah.
Like I said it before, it's definitely this Kurt Hawkins card, because when he got first signed, he signed all those sticker sheets.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I just signed like 10,000 of these sticker sheets. He's like, I put PMC on one of them. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then later, I found that card on eBay with
That's
my
awesome.
initials on it. So that I think that's before people started doing that. I know more people are doing that now. They putting different things on the stickers, which I think every wrestler should do. At least, like, if you sign 2,000, do at least 100 with a different little mark or a different thing. Because then that card just jumped up in value. It could be out of 199. It could go past the 1 out of 10, because it has the. I know Ethan Page did something like it did something like that. It just. I wish more celebrity collectors were more celebrities, and people that have cards were more collectors, and they know like how cool that stuff is for us and stuff like that. But that's the card I love so much, because it's just I'll never have another one like that. And
and the story behind it, tying it all together. That's perfect.
He also signed one Let's Go Mets, and that one's never surfaced.
I wonder if it got pulled because of some kind of.
It's out of Topps Platinum. I think
okay.
07 Topps Platinum, but he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do these random 2 ones. I thought that was crazy how that whole. I wonder what that person thought of it when he pulled the card. Like, what are these fucking initials on it?
Yeah, or like I wonder if it went if WWE, or if there's any kind of licensing or anything that has to get approved. Like, I wonder if maybe they saw this and they were going to put it in packs, and maybe they were like, oh, well, we can't put this in here because it says Mets on it. I don't know. It's just something that
I bet they're pumping. They'll put anything on anything. Like, gets the stickers back, bink, 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 and they'll throw it all on there. They put stickers upside down, this and that. That's
true. Good point. Okay.
So
you're right.
they just want to get those out. You could sign anything on those things. I bet they'll put it out. So it's a lot of fun.
Last question. This was just kind of a fun one. We originally were going to record this, and you were like, I am at Disney. I cannot do this. So I don't know how big of a Disney fan you are. I actually do not necessarily like the IP. I don't really like the movies. I just love the parks. Like, I'm a huge fan of the parks. So out of any of your experience at the Disney parks, whatever it is, what's the PSA 10 and what is the GMA 1?
GMA. Listen, I feel like I consider myself a normal person when it comes to Disney. I like to go to Disney with my kids, and they have a lot of fun there. The GMA 1 is that ride where you look at the vegetables grow. Whatever that is.
Living with the land. I love that thing.
Like, that's not even a ride. Like, honestly, I don't mind it now. Now, going into it the first time, I was like, I don't know where we're going. We're just pumping rides. Right.
This one's
10 minutes. Let's go. Bing, bing, bing.
Disney is not a vacation. It's let's have some fun.
Oh no, it's an expedition for fun. Like, it's like, we went wire to wire when it opened, when it closed, dragging my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old daughter. Like, nope, we got to go here. We got to go here.
You got to do.
It's it's no leisure. And my sister-in-law's yelling at me the whole time, like, you're leaving people behind. I go, then I get left behind.
Yep.
We got to go. But now I look at that, I want to go on it again because the first time I went on, I was super surprised. Like, how is this a ride? What are we looking at here? This is kind of crazy, and I couldn't get over it. And then
it's one of those ones that I like to get on if your feet hurt.
Take
a load off and relax.
Now I know what it is. I'm like, all right, I can just relax on this. And
right.
This is fine. But like when I'm like, come on, kids, let's go. And like I'm building it up to my kids are about to go see something cool. And they're spraying pesticides or spraying water on plants. And I don't know what the fuck's going on. It was a big letdown. It was a big letdown.
You couldn't have described all that any better though. So, all right, what's your favorite thing? Your PSA 10?
I love Splash Mountain, but they closed it down.
Man.
As a kid, I remember that drop being way bigger. Yeah, but I was like, here we go. I'm like, really, I was like, damn, that was kind of a small drop. I'm not a big roller coaster ride guy. I get kind of nauseous with it. So I really like also the Buzz Lightyear shooting game,
mm-hmm.
and then the one in Toy Story Land, that shooting game.
That one's great. Toy Story Mania.
Yeah, I'm big into those games where you could like get high scores and shoot like that. And I hate sitting with my son there because he like wants me to help him out. I'm like, yo, kid, I'm trying to break the record here. I'm watching TikTok videos on what things to shoot are worth more points, and you're asking me to fix your thing here. I'm trying to go.
Wait, you said you were a normal Disney guy, and you're looking into the TikTok videos on what has the most points on Toy Story
for the shooting games. Well, my sister said to me, she goes, I'm gonna blow you out of the water in this game. I was like, no way. And
that's awesome.
She showed if you shoot the top circle and this and that. Check it out. It's on TikTok. So I did beat her in the score though, but she was helping my daughter. I go, sucker.
Well, Pbear, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for you guys doing the podcast. I've always encouraged more people to continue putting out content, especially wrestling cards. There's not, look out there how many different podcasts or YouTube channels or whatever there are about all these other aspects of the hobby, but we don't have that many people doing it for wrestling. So keep flying the flag on that. And I guess one more question, any kind of parting words you have for wrestling card collectors, members of the community, anything like that?
I want to thank you. The reason I think we're so everybody's friendly with each other and close to each other is because you reached out to us, and we're like, I want to be support what you guys do. I would love to have you on our podcast. I think if you didn't do that, like set the tempo to like not be enemies and be friends and really I don't think it would have spread that easily for me to other people and this and that. So I want to thank you because you really. I was like, what a nice guy. I was like, he's kind of our competition. He talks about wrestling. Nope. I didn't know. I'm like, he wants us to be. I was like, that's so nice, and like, they're so happy for us to be there. That really set the tempo for like my mentality on this.
And then you took that and you guys set the tempo for community building because you guys have built the Patreon group to something that's just awesome.
So I want to thank you for that because I'm very competitive in baseball. I played sports. I'm like, well, I want to beat him. I want to be, but this. I'm so happy in my older age. It's you get more together than separate. So, parting words, just have fun. Just buy wrestling cards aren't that expensive, and then start off a little bit by a little bit, and it'll get bigger and bigger. And then if you think the card's cool, probably 50 other people think the card's cool too.
That's a good point.
If you think it's cool, 50 other people think it's cool. So, and just. There's no wrong way to do it. There's no wrong with this. Like you said, there's a million different ways.
You're a poster child for that. Look at all the random stuff you're
just random. I'm looking at the stuff right now. I have like just so random stuff and just go around, have fun. And just the fact is you could be wrong, but you're not going to blow 10,000. Like you could buy, let's just say, in basketball, a John Morant rookie card and this and that. And then next thing you know,
what happened.
Does something on Instagram. And next thing you know, you spend $1,000 on this card. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, so. And in wrestling, like I guess the definition of wrong can mean different things, but you can have fun and be wrong at the same time. Like,
kudos to you. When the first thing I saw Karrion Kross get fired, I was like, Zhan's not PC anymore. You're like, nope, I'm taking all of them.
Going. It's that Wade Boggs philosophy that you had is exactly what I was going for.
I was at the card show looking at Wade Boggs cards. I was like, I think I have these. I'm gonna get back in. I have actually a few autographs. When you get older, you can buy more expensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a few of his autographs and stuff like that. I only buy him when he's on the Yankees. He's got the cool, like I like what Immaculat's doing, the nickname stuff. So he has the Chicken Man because he likes to eat chicken for every game.
Yep.
So I think Panini is killing it right now with the product. I don't think you go wrong with the blasters and just jump into it and just have fun. The blasters are $30 and just have a lot of fun. You could get a big card. So have fun and make sure you listen to the Card Foundation podcast. It drops every Thursday.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm going to have links to the social platforms and the podcast links in the show notes, but go ahead and let everybody know where they can find everything you're doing.
Card Foundation podcast every Thursday. Filth Bomb Wrestling on Instagram. Filth Bomb Wrestling on Whatnot. A lot of fun. Whatnot. Just join to hang out. Twitter, I think, is Card
It's
Found
something
Pod
weird, yeah.
3. Card Foundation. It's Card Foundation Pod. I'm sure if you type it in, you'll find it on Twitter. That's Johnny. I don't think it's Card Found Pod 3, but it's something like that.
It's something weird, yeah. I remember that. And Tony too. He had to change his name because I think Wrestling Trading Cards was taken by someone else. So everybody getting on Twitter is like having their name taken, and they've got to use something else.
Gotta adjust. But yeah, just check it out, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, again, thanks for your time, and we'll catch up later, and good luck continuing on Whatnot and the podcast. Just keep it going. Keep flying the flag.
You're the man, Zhan. Thank you.
Thanks again to Pbear for coming on the show. Great information for a lot of you out there. I hope you guys got value out of this. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this series. If you did, just let these guys know about it. Show their support. Links in the show notes to their Patreon group. Go check out the podcast if you're not already. What are you doing? And make sure to give those guys a follow on social media. Check out Pbear on Whatnot. Go buy something from him. Let him know you enjoy what he's doing. And while you're checking out the links in the show notes, again, make sure to check out all the links of the ways you can help show your support for my content, my eBay store, my Patreon, links to the podcast, links to my socials, and much more. And before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Tell a friend about the channel. And hey, next week is WrestleMania. Enjoy it. And until then, click the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content to fill that time. We'll see you.